Hi guys, happy Thursday. So I've got my whiteboard here because I'm gonna be showing you something that I think most entrepreneurs miss. And this is what I wish I knew when I started business. I wish I had this when I started business. In fact, even while I was running my business, making money, being successful, I wish I had what I'm gonna teach you here today. So welcome. Hopefully you guys can see that. Is that even, can you see that? I hope you can see that. But welcome to my class, okay? So first thing I want to talk about, let's get my hair cute for you because we just woke up. I slept in this tank top. Anyway, so there's 4 pillars or 4 things that I want entrepreneurs to know here, okay? 4 things. Let me just check the camera to make sure you can see it properly. Oh yeah, you can see it pretty well. All right, so 4 things that I think most entrepreneurs might miss, okay? Number 1, we have the making of money. Okay, making money, right? Making money. This is the thing that a lot of us focus on. Okay, we want to have the 20K months, we want to have the 30K months, we want to have the 50K months. This is the part where a lot of us focus on making money. And this is the paradigm where what most people don't realize is that this is a twofold process. Like, in order to make money, it's not just strategy. It's the strategy, but it's also the inner world. It's your inner world, your self-concept. Because if your self-concept's not good, you won't be compelling enough to get people to trust you, okay? And if your self-concept's not good, you won't actually believe you're worthy and deserving of the money. So this has like a masculine paradigm, okay? Masculine paradigm, which is your external world, meaning your posts, how to write a headline, how to write a hook, how to send the emails, your strategy, your foundation, your business model, your brand. These are things that are pillars in your business, okay? These are very masculine energy things. But then the part that a lot of people miss here is where we talk about the feminine energy side of things, or the divine, the soul alignment, the parts of your business that has to do with who you are as a soul, okay? So that's the inner world. That's your inner world. So this is where we're going to talk about, let's just call it energy for now, okay? Energy. Okay, this is the intangible. Masculine is the tangible, the things we can see, your tagline, your brand, your title, your trademarks, what you do, who you actually help. So we got the masculine and we got the energetics, right? Or we can call it, instead of calling it masculine, because I think there's so much tied into how we phrase things, I would call it the structure and the flow. So you can call it structure and flow, or structure and energy, strategy and energy. These are the 2 things when it comes to making money. All right, so that's one paradigm. So when you're trying to make money in your business, let's say you're doing all the things. You're doing all the things. You're posting, you're showing up, you're doing everything you're meant to be doing. If it's not working and you're not in overflow, it means that it's an energy issue. If you're somebody who you're very spiritual, you're meditating, you're doing all the inner healing work, you're journaling, you're doing all the stuff, but it's not working, then you have a structure or strategy issue. I'm just trying to help you to understand where you have gaps so you can fix the thing that's actually in the way and not be confused as to why isn't it working. If you're doing everything every day, showing up, now, of course, there are people who you're showing up and your strategy probably needs some refining, but chances are this is weak, because even with poor strategy, when you are compelling, when your energy is big, when your conviction is strong, people still will want to buy from you, okay? They will still feel this compelling thing to purchase from you because there's just something about you, okay? So crappy energy cannot save your strategy, okay? And crappy strategy, like, both of them work together hand in hand, basically. All right, so that's making money. Now, the second pillar that a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize is that we also have the element of managing money. Managing money. All right, let me just double check to make sure you can actually see what I'm showing you here. All right, managing money. Is the lighting from the window? Let me just pull this curtain because I want you to be able to see. Hopefully that's a little better, right? A little better. I'll turn on the light so that you can see me. Okay, I think we're good for now. I think we're fairly fine, okay? So we have managing money. This part here, this is also twofold. So the twofold part within managing money is not just what is your budget, how much money do you make, what do you spend the money on. It's not just that. That's typical money management that people talk to you about, how to manage the money that comes in, spending, intake, out, inside, what's coming in, what's going out, right? So let's call that budgeting. And I know that a lot of times in the entrepreneurial world, we don't use a budget, right? Well, people don't like talking about budgets. Now, I actually don't use the word budget because in my business or in our businesses, a budget requires you to have a set thing, a fixed thing, and then you fit within that. Now, when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a set restriction on what comes in. So I like to call it a forecast, okay? Because a forecast means I can plan to even do double, triple, exceedingly abundantly above what is expected. So I call it a forecast, okay? So you got your forecast. That is an outward projection. Again, just like with the making money, there's a structure and there's the energetic. There's the outward and then there's the inward. Forecast. Now, managing money, there's also an internal piece of that as well, right? Not just talking about the energetics around that, but talking about for example, your pricing in your business, okay? Your pricing structure in your business. There's also like the shame and guilt from the past, right? So shame, guilt. Let me see if you guys can see that. That's guilt. It says shame and guilt. You get the point, right? So there's the external, right? Your forecast. Okay, so the way I have a course called In the Green, and inside of it, I actually give my clients a formula. Like it's the Rich Babe formula. It's the Rich Babe Revolution formula to help them to figure out how to forecast their business so they actually have money like ahead of time. When I was not doing this, I would make 17K in 5 days and then I would have nothing to show. And then when I started doing this, I was able to take 6 months off my business to cater to my family and nurture my grandma before she passed away. And I didn't have to worry about business or money. I had money coming in every month. Checks were coming in. Clients were paying. Recurring was happening. There was so much happening. For 6 months, I took 6 months off from launching anything. And I was still able to have money coming because I was following this forecasted process. Now, a lot of times it feels restricting because we're like, oh, I don't want to limit myself about how much money I'm making. I don't want to limit myself. But the truth is that the only reason you would feel limited is because of this here. The internal piece where we're talking about your pricing, shame, and guilt. Let me see if there's, okay, somebody's on here. Hi, let me know who you are. You want to watch this from the beginning? If you can, come back and watch the beginning of this, but stay with me here. I'm telling you the 4 kinds of things that I see entrepreneurs missing that would give them a holistic relationship with money and just really solve a lot of the things. So we talked about making money, the structure of it, like, okay, running a business, your offers, your hooks, your headlines, you're building your audience, selling, how to sell. But then you have the energetics, right? Not feeling worthy, actually asking for the sale, being confident, that conviction in yourself, trusting that it'll happen, how to navigate when it looks like it's not working, all that stuff, right? That's energetics. Then we have the managing money piece where we have the forecast where a lot of entrepreneurs, they live paycheck to paycheck. I know that for sure. That's something that's affected me in my time because most mentors don't teach this. They'll tell you about making the 20K months, but then you will spend it all and then go back down to zero and then be in a paradigm of shame. So then you won't allow yourself to make more. That's why a lot of you will have a big month and then it looks like everything goes to shit after that. No, it's just that you were not given this piece here. So you cannot hold it. And I'm going to tell you what's in this box here that also has to do with you holding it. So anyway, the forecast will help you to have a structure in place so you can exhale. I was able to take 6 months off to cater to my family and take care of my ailing grandma before she passed away because of this process here. Now, the next thing is, like I mentioned, internally, when it comes to managing your money, it's about managing your pricing. If you're charging, and I saw somebody that I love dearly, and I saw her charging like $7 for this thing, and she listed out all the things people get. And bear in mind, I have offers that are $7 that give people a lot of things. That things that are $47, $37 that give people a lot of things. But I also have bigger offers like my private coaching or my memberships and my mastermind that allows me to be able to have that flexibility. I see a lot of entrepreneurs trying to sell $7 offers and $49 offers, and it's like, babe, you will be acting out of survival because when that $7 comes in, by the time you pay your fees and exchange rate, depending on what country you're in, like what can you do with that? You can't even pay your phone bill with that. Like, why are you doing that? And it's not like you have a massive audience to say, okay, 1,000 people are gonna buy. You're struggling to get 4 people to buy the $7 thing. That's ridiculous. So so this is where we have to get rid of any shame and guilt, and also again, self-concept is here too, because if you don't think people will pay you 10 grand, you will continue to charge $7 prices. Okay, let me see if there's any questions. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. I'll come around and check to see if there's any questions. All right, so we've got making money, managing money. Now the next one that people, this is the part that I love. It's my favorite thing ever. And it is multiplying money. Okay, because this is like level 1. I'll put it in the pink actually. So this is level 1. This is level 2. So once you can make the money and you feel good, you're making the money, and then you're managing the money, so you have a proper forecast about like how to know how much money should be coming in. Because a lot of you, even if you were to hit your 10K goal or your 20K goal, the truth is you would still be behind. So there's a way to calculate what your ideal number is for your managing your money. And we'll talk about it when we get to level 4. So level 3 is multiplying money. This is where it's just unrealistic. It's just unrealistic. Now, obviously, as with everything, there's the structure and there's the flow. There's the masculine and the feminine. There's the forecast, there's the outward and the internal. Okay. So when you're talking about multiplying money, this is where we talk about your systems. Now, when I say systems, I mean, I make them sexy systems. We don't do ugly things around here. We do sexy things, sexy systems. And why I talk about sexy systems is I'm talking about making sure that how you're delivering your offer can actually scale. So your membership site or your group program, you know, whether it's a team member, like it's like next level leadership, right? That kind of CEO codes. This is CEO codes right here. CEO shit. Okay, that's what's right here. Sexy systems and CEO shit. Like that's what's here. And the next part of multiplying your money is this is where we now play in the quantum. This is the work that has my clients 4x from 1 month to the next. This is the work, the quantum work is the work, because a lot of you know how to make money. You've had sales before. So it's not like you need a lot to tweak here. You might need to fix the energy piece so that you actually like believe that you can ask for more. You know, maybe we need to refine some of the structure, your headlines, your hooks. Who are you? What do you do? What do you actually help people to do? What's aligned? Because some of you are selling things that are from your last season and you know you need to pivot, but you haven't pivoted yet. So there's some refinement here, but essentially you know how to make sales. So when we come over here into multiplying, now this is where we go quantum. So this is where my clients are 4xing their income from 1 month to the next. This is where my clients are 7xing their income in 90 days, their previous year's income. So take everything you've earned in a year, multiply it by 7 and make it in 90 days. That's what's happening here. This is where my clients make the 84K in 21 days kind of results. This is where we have the unrealistic shit that happens. I like here because this is not from a realm of need. You don't need this to happen. So this is completely overflow. It's fun. It's playful. It's joyful. Multiplying the money. This is the part that I love to do. And for me, in my world, I tend to like to do this in Q4. Okay. So obviously I'm making this video. You know, I have things that I can use to help you if you want to learn some of this stuff. But usually in Q4, I like to do this because I believe it's like, it's my birthday happens in October. You've got, which is on Halloween. You've got Guy Fawkes with all the fireworks. You've got, which is the 5th of November. You've got Thanksgiving, gratitude, right? You got Black Friday, sales, deals, fun. Cyber Monday, more sales, more deals, more fun. You got Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, party vibes, food, dinners, beauty, fun, the lights, the magic, the gifts, the giving, the spending. Like it is just energies moving. So freaking juicy. Obsessed. So this is where we have our biggest cash days. This is where we have our biggest cash. And then we have the countdown to the new year. What? Countdown to the new year. Juicy stuff. So Q4. So this is quantum. So again, you will not allow yourself to do this if you feel like you will break, because this is not set in stone. So again, everything we do, we play in the yin and the yang, the yin and the yang. Notice there's yin and yang in every single one of them, the outward and the inner, the masculine, the feminine, the structure and the flow, the strategy and the energy in every single one of them, okay? And now the fourth one, let me see if there's any questions. Okay, you're still on here. Thank you for being on here. I appreciate you. You're not telling me who you are, but I love that you're here. Level 4, this is the part where most people fail. This is the part where I failed so many times, like more times than I could have counted. And this is where, because for those of you who don't know, right, like I'm a human design projector and I'm a line 3 in human design. So what that means is I do trial and error. I learn through the hard way. So this, making money, it took me 8 months to make my first sale. And then I didn't make any more money for 4 more months after that. And then once I mastered it, I just mastered it. So it was like trial and error. Managing money, oh my God, I had a 60K month, had nothing to show. I had 15K in 5 days, nothing to show. I made 25K in 3 days, nothing to show. So I failed miserably at this. To the point where I remember I was sharing with one of my clients, she was going through some rough financial things. And I was saying to her, she felt like, you know, Chanel, you'll never understand what I've been going through. And I'm like, girl, I know what it is like to have had letters from debt collectors because I didn't manage it well. So I had letters from debt collectors and like just lots of shame. So this is why I can tell you shame and guilt and self-concept matters here, because I had to alchemize this for myself, wondering, oh my God, am I going to get evicted? Like I had this exact thing in my journey after I learned how to make money. I was making, you know, my first sale and then my first group program launch and then my first passive income sales. But even then I still had a lot of debt because I was broke. And so I had to learn to manage the money. I had to fix this part. And even when I had more money come in, I did not know how to manage it. So I was still living paycheck to paycheck because that's a frequency. This is why I said to you that there's an energetic piece to it as well. So I was living in that scarcity. And when I fixed this part here, it was really when I did a lot of the somatic work around money and my ancestry. Because when I had talked to my family members, they were telling me that when they were the same age I was, they had the same thing. They were getting letters from debt collectors. They were getting things like repossessed. So it was literally not even something I consciously, logically did. It was a generational programming and a generational code in my morphogenetic field. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a container that I call the magnetic aura immersion, where we actually teach you how to clear things from your energetic field, your aura, because it's not something that you're conscious of. I did not go around thinking, I'm going to get letters from a debt collector. No, it was this blueprint of not being able to hold money that was in my DNA, in my lineage, that was emanating through me. And by the way, if you don't understand how this works, this is called epigenetics. It's not woo-woo. It's not just spiritual. It's scientific. There's studies that show this, okay? And so when you understand this and you actually can apply the antidotes then that I share with my clients, in a sense, it helps you to remove that programming and expand yourself so that you can manage the money. Now, multiplying the money, right? We talked about that, why I love that so much, because it's like within this space, I remember going through grief, 2024, when my grandma died after she passed away. And within 60 days, I had a dream apartment, a free car, romance, the sexiest I'd ever felt in my body, like completely just sexy. Like my biggest cash day that year, people were coming out of nowhere, like multiple people to sign up for my private coaching. I had my passive income courses were just being bought like that without me doing anything. It was just crazy. It was like I was in a whole other like paradigm. I freaking love it. Anyway, so that's that. Now, level 4. Oh, you're liking this. I know you're liking this because you're here. So you're not saying anything, but you're here. That's fine. That's fine. I'm like that sometimes. Lurker. I see you. Anyway, so the 4th level is maintain. This is something that, oh my God, I'm so passionate about this. Because how many times have you had something happen, like a breakthrough or a miracle, and then you're like, oh my God, it's happening for me, and then you go back to the old you? How many times have you had that happen? You're doing what you want, what you're called to do. Something's coming up. You're like, yes, it's working for me. And then all of a sudden, it just falls back down, right? We've all had those moments. And sometimes I remember even earlier this year, because I have a container called the House of Wealth, and I share with my clients like the behind the scenes of how I actually navigate when problems come up. So in this maintain thing, I had where I have like I have an in-person assistant, okay, in my business. So sometimes we'll meet in person, we'll do, record content, we'll film B-roll, that kind of thing. And I remember I made this vision board, right? I made this vision board of what I saw my next level entrepreneurship self to look like. And not just entrepreneurship, but like socialite, leader, thought leader. And I had the pictures on this board. And it was like 4 days later, we were supposed to meet in person to do this content creation day where she's going to take pictures and videos and B-roll. And I found myself shrinking. So I said to her, oh, if you're, because she was in the countryside, and I said, oh, if you can't make it, it's fine, we'll cancel. She says, no, we're not going to cancel. Of course I'm coming. I'm excited for this. So she comes. Because I have somebody holding me accountable, I could not quit on myself. So I had to go to do this video shoot. I'm telling you. And the reason why I was nervous was because the place we were shooting I love photo shoots. I love video shoots. The reason I was nervous was because the place we were filming was one of the posh places then. And I was like, oh my God, people are going to be looking at me. I'm going to be this one random girl with videos and photos. And it's like, should I get, will they judge me? Will they think, oh, she's an influencer, look down on me? I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I was a bit nervous. And I felt myself the morning wake up and feel all of that heaviness and fear. And it was like the teenager inside of me who wanted to be loved, who wanted to be adored, who wanted to be accepted, who wanted to be seen. She was feeling it. She was like, oh my God, they're going to hate me. They're going to think I'm not enough. They're going to think I'm trying too hard. Like I had all of that come up, and I sat in my bed and I did a practice that allowed me to process that emotion. And then I sent a voice note to all my clients in my House of Wealth. And I said, guys, this is what I just felt. This is how I'm navigating it. This is how I feel now. Then I go, I shower, do my makeup, I get ready for the shoot. And then I feel on top of the world. I am ready. So I message them again, guys, this is the update. Now this is how I'm feeling. So they're seeing how I'm navigating real life occurring. It doesn't end there. We go to the place and I feel so awkward. I'm like, okay, where do I stand? Where do I go? And again, I navigate. I tap back into my codes. I tap back into my processes. I tap back into my tools. And then I shift again and I slayed it. Oh my God, we slayed it. Before I left, there were people coming up to me saying like, hey, what do you do? Like, oh, you work in marketing? Oh my God, I'd love to hire you. Da, 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 da. I have a health food store. I'm a medical doctor. I have this thing over here. I have this thing over here. Oh my God, I want to know more. Like, when can we have a meeting? People are hiring me, wanting to hire me. I didn't follow up with him, but potential clients flocking to me because I am in my essence. I'm in my power. Still not done yet. So I feel good. I go home. I feel good. I'm like, oh my God, I did it. Record to my client. This is the update. This is where we're at with processing this emotion. So they're seeing real time how I get my gremlins to shut up, because they're trying to tell me who I get to be and what I get to have and how I shift through that and rise into the highest vision that I have for myself and who I really am called to be. But having that accountability, I wasn't able to sabotage myself. And sometimes you're sabotaging because you're trying to do it on your own. Again, for the 3rd year in a row, when you know that when you're in a space where people support you, you don't shrink. So anyway, it doesn't end there. I know, because again, when you're expanding into a bigger level, you're going to meet on every single limiting belief that is keeping you where you are now. Because when you shift into that new parallel identity, the old you dies, and it doesn't want to die. So it's going to do everything in its power to keep you where you are. And it's smart. It's known you for decades. So it knows what kind of BS stories to tell you, so you shrink. That's why you need to be in spaces where people don't think the way you think. They think ahead, or they think bigger than the problem you see, or they've had the problem, they've alchemized it, and they can walk you through the path to where you want to go. So when it came to, so what happened was, again, when we look at the photos, and I remember I stopped and I said, this is literally exactly what's on the board. What the hell? I manifested it or created it within days. And again, I felt myself shrink. again. And then I was teaching this masterclass. So if you've ever seen me teach my seductive sales trifecta masterclass, I've had many versions of it over the years, but I was teaching that. And again, that same day I'm to teach the masterclass, I was like, oh, I don't know which day it's going to be. And then I felt myself lean into the fear, lean into the discomfort. And what I did was I went into my mastermind with with my mentors and my mastermind sisters. And I said, guys, I feel this way, but this is how I'm navigating it. This is how I'm leading myself through it. And I got my hair done, I did my makeup, and I went live. No notice, no nothing. It was just like, it's today. The masterclass is right now. And I just started teaching. And from that masterclass, there's so many people who, from that masterclass, became clients or bought things from me on the back end of that masterclass. But I was owning my voice as somebody who gets to teach people about money, as somebody who gets to teach people about sales. Because sometimes when your calling calls you, you are tested in the area that you're meant to lead in. Because this is a prove it moment. But if you don't see it as a prove it moment and you see it as an identity defining moment in the opposite way, you will then shrink yourself and think you're not ready for your calling, when actually this was an invitation to rise. So I saw it as the invitation to rise, and I rose. And so maintaining comes from multiple, again, like with everything else, has the consistency of the structure piece. Sure, whether it's that you have a rhythm and a flow in your business of when you're creating content. Is it that you're doing a monthly masterclass? Is it that you're doing quarterly masterclasses or quarterly live extravaganzas? What are you doing in your business? What's your structure? And that helps you to maintain it, because then you're not waiting till when you run out of money to then be on a hamster wheel of like, oh, this person's going to cancel or renew, or their time's up. Let me rev up the machine. I used to do that. I used to literally rev up the machine, book a bunch of clients, and then when they would be done, then I would come back and rev up the machine. Like, you'd see me every few months, okay? I saw somebody post like a meme that said, I want to be like Adele, take 6 years off and then work for a year, make new music, then take 6 years off. So that was literally me in my business. I would take a bunch of time off, only work when it was time to make money, when it was time to make sales. But that's not healthy, because when you are here to be a thought leader and you're here to be an icon, that's actually a survival mechanism. That's selling out of need, versus this multiplied method, which is like, you want to be here. You're so turned on by this. You're living your fully turned on life, and your business and money is just an extension of who you are. So when it comes to maintaining, we need to find what is your aligned. It needs to be aligned. Otherwise, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna follow up. You're not going to do it. So that means all the things you think you need to do. For example, you don't want to be making freaking reels, but you keep telling yourself you need to make them. That's not sustainable. Okay? You know you're meant to be on a specific platform or doing ads or something, but you're not doing them. Right? Anyhow, so structure, right? What's helpful here is having accountability. I'll write this in black. Accountability. Accountability. Okay? But the feminine side of this, let me just see if there's any comments. Okay, no comments yet. Jennifer Ann. Hi, Jennifer Ann. All right, so there's no, so the energetic side of this is where we have capacity. Whoa. This has been the lesson that I've been embodying the most, or learning to embody the most this year. And that's why I shared that example. What this is capacity to hold rejection, capacity to hold people, because you're saying, oh, I want to multiply, I want to serve people, I want to be big, I want to do whatever. You have to have the capacity to hold those people. That means their projections. That means capacity for boundaries, to say no, capacity to make changes in your business regardless of who's going to be upset, capacity to charge what you want to charge, capacity to take out what's not aligned. Capacity. You're going to have capacity. So the thing about capacity is, this is something that we hold in our physical body. And this is why in my work with my clients, especially in the House of Wealth and in my Fully Turned On Power Mind, we do a lot of capacity expansion. So we have somatic practices that we do around the pelvic area, because your pelvis is where you hold survival, but it's also where that's where you birth creativity. We have the throat. This is where when you feel like you don't fit in, or you feel like you don't belong, you feel like they don't like you, you're rejected, that happens here. It's like, think about the in different parts when people are rejected and they get hung for their voice, their opinion, for who they are, they're not accepted. There's this tightness in the throat. It's a universal energy that is right here. Your upper chest, upper shoulders, and your throat, neck, back of your neck, all of this right here. So we do somatic practices around releasing that tension, because that is where you're able to then speak openly. When I do this capacity work somatically, and then also then have the structure to match it, I actually turn around and I had a video that did 500,000 views in 3.5 days. 500,000 views in 3.5 days, and I felt completely regulated. I felt safe. There were thousands of comments. I didn't feel, some of them were for me, some were against me, some were mean, some were good, and I felt safe. I felt completely safe. It was the first time that I felt such massive safety. I mean, I've had like my YouTube content, have reached over 1 million people as well. We've had that too. It's not anything new. I've had multiple pieces of content go viral. Even this year, I had one piece of content do 19.8 times what my content generally does. But it's because of this capacity, the capacity to know who I am, to hold my energy, to hold people's projections, the capacity, because think about, right? Capacity. Think about if you had X amount of people sign up, that's X amount of people's expectations. That's X amount of people's expecting an ROI, return on investment. That's X amount of people who are possibly going to judge you, have a good experience, have a bad experience. So their projections, that's people's energy that you're interacting with. So you have to have good capacity and good energy. So most people aren't able to maintain it because they have a big win and then they're human. They don't have the accountability. And when I say accountability here, I'm talking emotional. That's why mentorship is important. I'm talking somatic, okay? Accountability, emotional accountability. This is emotional intelligence. Identity. Your self-concept has to be big enough to hold that. Think about Taylor Swift or Beyonce. Like when they stand on stage, they're able to absorb projections, or not absorb, but resist the projections of millions of people. There's so many people who are going to misunderstand you. So if you have a core wound of being understood, and I need people to understand me. So in my work with my clients, what I do here is real deep inner healing work. Because sometimes this piece here stops you from even doing this. Sometimes this piece here stops you from doing this. Because if you really become that wealthy, if you really become that rich, who's going to judge you? What are you going to do with all your free time? You need to have capacity for even your free time. I had a client of mine who she literally was like, but if I let business be that easy, Chanel, multiplying her money, what am I going to do with all my free time? So you have to even have capacity for your free time, for nothing. You have to have capacity to hold space for nothing. So if you've heard me share this and you're saying, okay, Chanel, I want to work on this, or I want to work on this. Like, you want to work on all of it. Where do you go? Well, I've created something called the House of Wealth. And inside of my House of Wealth, it is not a course. It is not some boring thing where you just come on and it's just noise. No, the House of Wealth has been rearranged and recreated in a way where it fills in these 4 gaps every month. So regardless of where you're at in your life and in your business, you get to come in and say, Chanel, you know what? What I'm working on this month is a making money piece. I feel like it's not happening for me with this making money piece. And we can dive into and look at your structure and look at, oh, baby girl, this is not even clear. Or we can look at the energetics about the money, whatever is coming up. What if no one buys? The fear, or you're putting in so much effort. Can you really charge that much? We work on that. And then, so every week we do a different thing. So we level, I didn't get to write level 4 here, level 4. We also have level 2 that we focus on every month, where we look at managing your money. Because maybe you're like, okay, Chanel, the money came in and I'm literally about to go do the same thing I normally do, which is spend it on DoorDash. Or buy more like $7, $27 things from ads, or your Amazon addiction. Or I don't know, right? You're obsessed with buying more courses that you don't actually consume. Anyway, buy this course, okay? Anyway, so we got managing money. So we actually do that each month to make sure that you are building wealth. My aim here with managing money is to get you to the place where your business, You don't need your business. You become work optional. What people like to call financial freedom, I like to call it work optional. So that means that the money that you have in your business that's recurring, or the money that you've created through your investments, because I talk about investing here, we talk about real estate here. It's big girl conversations, big girl conversations for the women who want to build wealth, not just make money and be on a hamster wheel of business, but you want to create wealth. We talk about that here. Okay, and we make sure that you're pricing, and we remove all the guilt and the shame, and we turn you into your wealthy woman self. Okay, in this area. Then we have a lot of fun. Okay, we have a lot of fun playing in the quantum, expanding your capacity for more. And that's why I say my clients can do 4x, okay, 7x, 84K in 21 days. Okay, I've had clients who, what they normally do in the whole year, they're doing it in 2 weeks, collapse the timeline, right? And do 1 year in 2 weeks. This was a medical doctor. We got their practice to have what they would normally have in a year in 2 weeks. And you might be like, a medical doctor, but that's why we also look at here your capacity. So they were able to hold it because they had sexy systems. We looked at the CEO shit to make sure that they could grow their medical practice without burning out, because I don't believe in burnout. Okay, I don't believe in burnout. I've been burnt out. In 2017, I used to work 100 hours a week. Now that's great for capacity, but it's not really great for your mental health, nor your physical body, nor your sex life, because at the time I was married, and best believe it was a Sahara Desert in my love life. When I fix this kind of stuff, let me stay 1 second. I'm coming. This is what you get. Roses. I got these yesterday from, was a secret admirer sent them to me yesterday. But I was able to get this. Why? Because I have time to entertain romantic relationships, right? Yesterday, whilst I was getting roses, I also spent 3 hours on a family group call with my dad and my sister, talking, laughing. Can you spend 3 hours with your family on a random Wednesday morning? It was morning. It wasn't afternoon. It wasn't night. It was morning. Can you take 3 hours on a Wednesday morning to go just chill with your family? And then collect roses from, lovers and shit. Like, capacity to have a juicy life. So inside my house of wealth, I walk you through these things. We give you the structures, but I also hold space for you with the emotional, the energetic, the inner healing work around shame, guilt, the quantum expansion, so that you can tap into unlimited wealth and real overflow. No more going paycheck to paycheck, no more living on edge, and no more even just like knowing you should have it, but you don't have it yet. Because maybe you're okay. Because that was me too at points. It's like, you're okay. You have the money coming in, your bills are paid, you're fine. But maybe you're looking to multiply, okay, where it's just like unrealistic, unnecessary, right? Unrealistic, unnecessary level of money and wealth. And you know what I was doing this morning? I was calculating if I donate 10% of the daily revenue that comes in, 10% each day, I was looking at how many kids could I send to school. That literally this morning, I laid in the bed and I had on my calculator. I'm saying, okay, because at this point, when it's unrealistic and unnecessary, it's not even about what you want anymore. It's like, what can you do? I'm like, but what school? And I'm like literally saying, what school would I sponsor? Like, what school would I go and find the girls who need that help and sponsor them? Because in the country I'm in right now, currently I'm actively in Jamaica at the moment. I go between here and the UK, but primarily I'm here right now. And 47% of girls experience period poverty. I was like, if I do this, how many pads can I buy? I could fund a whole school of pads for the girls. Every month they know they're getting a care package with pads and panty liners and feminine wipes, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. So when you have this unrealistic, unnecessary multiplication of money, what can you do with it? Of course you're going to get the car, of course you're going to get the house, of course you're going to buy more property, of course you're going to do all of that, but what else can you do? What kind of impacts can you make? what do you want to do for your family? Like, how are you spending Christmas? What kind of Christmas tree you're gonna have? I remember when I started tapping into this energy, I bought a 7-foot Christmas tree. Like, I was a single girl living in London. Why was I with a 7-foot Christmas tree? I don't know. It was a 7-foot Christmas tree, and I bought like over 1,000 ornaments to go on the tree. Some of them were tiny, some were big, but like over 1,000 ornaments and lights on this tree. It was beautiful. And then, you know what else I did when I was able to do this? I have like a group of friends, and we usually meet up on Thursdays, and there were like 20 people. And I went and I made Christmas goodie bags for everyone. Mugs and little socks and like moisturizer and perfume, you know, like if you're in the UK, you know, you got Lynx. It's like, what's it called in the US? It has a different name. It's like Axe, like those Axe body spray for the guys, and like body lotion, body butters for the girls. And I literally made 20 goodie bags. And I was Mrs. Claus, and I could carry it for my friends for Christmas. That's what's possible when you kind of multiply the money. But we look at this every day. But some people can't get here because they have tweaks in their foundation. You're not aligned. You don't want to talk about what you're talking about. You don't really, it's not hitting. You haven't found that sweet spot where when you talk about it, your audience are like, yes, we want this. So we fix that part. We make sure that we set up your structure to manage it so that you don't fall back into shame of, oh my God, how am I in debt again? No, we clean up that energy, and then we expand you, and then we make it so that you can actually hold it. This is why we call it the House of Wealth. So I want to invite you to the House of Wealth. Now, the House of Wealth is $397 per month. I know it's crazy because you're like, Shani, you get all of this? Yes, you get all of this. Weekly coaching calls. Not coaching calls, weekly hot seats. Some days it might be a workshop. Some days it might be like we're doing like hot seats, makeovers, tap-ins. Every single time it's different. Depends on what we're working on in the different weeks. But we have them weekly. And we have integration week where we expand your capacity. So you don't skip the inner work, because your gremlins will want to skip it. We put it in the system so that you're able, in the process, so you're able to make sure that you clear any other things that are in the way. Now, I know it's crazy, $397, but why is it $397? I actually made this for Chanel 2020. 2020 was the year I did not know I was going to get divorced. Okay, we all had a pandemic. I did not know I was going to get divorced. I did not know I was going to go through separation. And that year, I made an investment at the top of the year because I wanted to fix my money things. And the payment that I was making was $397 per month. And so because it was $397, I know that this is a number that feels special to me. Trust me, I've played with, should I charge $1,111? And I may raise it in the future, but at the moment, this is what it is. And I've tried, should I do less? And when I charge less, it just feels like the exchange is not fair, because I know what this does for you. Like I tell you, clients who are in this container actively 4x their income from one month to the next. So when that happens, it doesn't feel good to not have a proper exchange. So it can't be less. And again, like I said, it might go up to more, but I know that when I decided to fix this thing in 2020, to like really fix it properly, I didn't know I was going to get separated and divorced. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what I was about to go through in life, how I was going to evolve and grow, because I had to do all of this manually. I learned the hard way. And I don't want anyone to ever have to do that. I wish someone had given me this. I wish that 397 program that I didn't just tell me about making the money. I wish she had told me how to manage it, but I don't think she knew how to either, to be honest. Because a lot of coaches don't. They can help you to make the money, but they can't help you to manage it or multiply it without working harder. Because she was working really hard. And then maintaining it, because obviously if she's not managing it, then it's very hard to maintain it. So I wanted to create something to collapse the timeline for who I was then to become who I am today and beyond. And also, as I master this even more, because I'm leading it, I'm walking with you in it, I get to even experience, like I mentioned here, some of the things that I want to do and help people with. For me, I'm passionate about helping women with money. And there's so many times I felt called, like honestly, like I remember 2022 crying. I mean, like, God, I don't want to teach this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It was like, Chanel, you are here for a purpose. You've been through all of this stuff so you can help them. It's like, but I'm not a millionaire yet. But Chanel, you've helped multiple people become millionaires. You're called for this. You're here for this. Your clients need this. This is the thing. And I'm like, oh my God. And every time I resist, I get smacked up the head. So I'm just being obedient at this point, because yeah, we don't have time to learn the hard way. And one of the reasons though why I also say yes to doing this work is because when I went through separation and divorce, I used to live in Italy. For those of you who don't know, I used to live in Italy. We had a beautiful house on the beach. I manifested that. I'm a queen of magnetism and manifestation. So I magnetized my dream beachfront home. We had a gate to the private beach. We had our boat and we'd take our boat out at night to go catch fish. Like beautiful, beautiful experience in Italy, in the south of Italy. Beautiful life. Beautiful life. I had no clue that in 2020 that would have changed. And I moved to London. As I didn't know it was going to be single, ended up getting separated and divorced. And when I went to London, my bills were 13 times more than what they were before. But because I knew how to do this, I could exhale. I moved into a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in a high-rise building overlooking all of London, 15 minutes from Victoria Station. And I literally had not even a spoon. I went with a hand luggage because I didn't know I was getting divorced. So I only packed a hand luggage to go to London. My husband was supposed to come in with our vehicle and bring all my stuff. I've not seen him since. That was the last time I saw him, when he took me to the airport. Well, I see him on social media, but I haven't seen him since. And when I moved to London, all of my expenses 13x'd because Italy is not expensive to live in, especially the south of Italy. But all my expenses were 13 times more. 13 times more. But I did not flinch. I did not flicker. That was the same season where I could buy the Christmas tree and treat all my friends and knee-high boots. Like I was living my Naomi Campbell fantasy. Like I looked hot. So it's $3.97 a month. I'm going to get my laptop and drop the link for you. It's $3.97 a month. In it, you get instant access to things, but we are structuring it in a way where you are not going to be overwhelmed. Okay, that's what we're doing especially as we're moving into Q4. You can have the best time of your life here now. There is a 4-month minimum because I don't again, we have pillars. I want you to be able to go through it. Give yourself a chance to win. I have clients who they come in and within the first 2 weeks, their business had fallen. They were doing $0 a month. They come into the house of wealth, go through things, and within 2 weeks, they're doing $8,000 days. There are people who were all over the place for years in their business, not structured, not focused. They come into the house of wealth. We get them in alignment with what it is they're meant to be doing. They become an authority in that industry. They put out offers the same day people are buying. They're going to quit on their launch. We work on their capacity. They keep going. More people jump into their launch instead of them sabotaging the launch. And even after they graduated and left the house of wealth, they have people buying their offers and paying in full. Brand new people who only met them and knew them for a few days. This is the foundation for people who win. And I want you to win. So let me get my laptop. I'm going to pop the link in the comments so you can come and join us. After the 4-month period, if you feel complete, you can leave. Like I will literally say, okay, we did it. You can either say, oh my gosh, and I hit all my goals. You can go. If not, you're like, it's not working for me. You can go. But I will tell you this. People tend to stick around. There's hotties in there now who are in their second year of this container. And what I will say is, I don't take a lot of people into this space because I do these hot seats and these makeovers and these things. I want to know you. I want to know your business. I want to understand what's happening so I can spot the blocks and call you out and help you shift. And so because of that, there are limited spaces. So if you are thinking about being a part of this, I would actually encourage you to just say yes to yourself now. If you feel a nudge, if you feel a tug, trust yourself, say yes to yourself now. Because the spots are going to fill up, and I don't want you to miss the opportunity to be able to be in a community where you can shift. When I say community, I really mean community. We have something in there called the water cooler thread, and the ladies are supporting each other, like the conversations that they have, celebrating each other. It's real good vibes in there. Not you feeling like you don't belong, and no, you will feel at home. The women are top tier, and they will make sure that you feel at home, and you will also make sure that they feel at home too. Because you're drawn to me, and that means that you vibe on that same level of energy. So let me get the link, and then I will pop it in the comments. So we've got our laptop here. Just gonna pop this in Facebook. Open the link. Just trust yourself and come join us. It's going to change the game for you. That's something I know for sure. Hi, Thomas is on here. Maya's on. Guys, I couldn't see the comments. Hi. Here's the link to join. And again, like I said, weekly hot seats. So it's not like one of those things where you come in and you're just taking in information. You're able to actually get feedback. And that's something that's missing in this industry, where people don't get feedback. So here's an activity. Here's something I want to say to you. Oh, so I can actually see comments now. Oh, wait, no, I don't see any comments. But hi. It's not showing on the phone, but it showed on my laptop. Here's the final thing I want to say before I wrap up. I want you to think about how much you want to make per month. How much do you really want to make per month? Like, hand on heart, exhale. If you were to look at this area here, and you were to look at this area here, how much do you really want to make per month as your baseline? If you're watching live, even if you're watching in the replay, you can comment in the chat and let me know. I'll give you a chance to comment and let me know. How much do you actually want to make per month in your business? I asked this question the other day, and one of the hotties, she said she wanted to make $25,000 in her business per month. And I want you to understand that if you are wanting to make 20K months, 25K, 30K, 50K, whatever it is, $397 as a seed sown, the first month you hit that, you would have already more than 10x. Okay? Way more than 10x, $397. Even if you made $3,970, you're 10xing. Some of you have a 5K offer. The first one you sell, you've more than 10x your investment. Even if you took the time to go through and... So, let me ask you another question. Do you realize that by not actually fixing this, you are throwing away $25,000 a month? You are burning $25,000 a month. You're throwing it away. You're burning it. That means between now and the end of the year, that would be an extra $75,000 that you are burning, throwing away, because you don't know what you don't know. I wish it did not cost me 5 years of my life to learn this. I would have gladly said, here is $397, even if it meant I had to put it on a credit card, sell something that I'm not using, and invest in myself. Which, by the way, I've done that. I remember when I started my business, I was actually homeless, sleeping in a locker in a train station in Switzerland. And 2 days later, I discovered coaching was possible. And it was a 5-figure investment. And I moved things around, I borrowed, I sold what I had to sell. I wasn't doing that for myself with a roof over my head. I slept in a locker. But when I knew that this was my future, because I was never going to be in that situation again, ever, I knew that I had to have a difference. I knew I had to make something different for myself. And by being resourceful, asking family members for help, putting things together, moving stuff around, I was resourceful. And what I always say is, the person who backs themselves so bigly, they're the ones who do these kinds of results. They're the ones who 7x and 4x because they believe in themselves. And there's something that happens in the quantum field when you believe so powerfully, and you're in an environment with people who believe so powerfully, and you have a mentor who cares about you so much and believes for you just as powerfully. There is no way you do not win. So the only question is, why are you afraid of winning? And what if you felt the fear? Because that's what it is. It's fear of what if it works? You know it's going to work. You know it. In your soul, it's going to work. So what if you felt that fear and you were brave enough to say, and I'm still going to do it anyway? Why not? You know what it is to do all the things and not have the result. Why not try this flavor over here where you do the things, you have the support, and you actually get what you want? No more taking in all this information from everybody and not actually thriving. But to be in a container that's geared to help you to win. Let's make it so that you close this year, you close this season, this chapter, this quarter that we're moving into with the most power, the most fire, the most awareness that you'll ever have, and the most money and expansion and peace around money than you'll ever have. What do you do with the kids? Maybe you take them on an impromptu Christmas trip somewhere. Because you got it like that. So if you feel a pull, and you know, oh my God, what if it works? You're feeling the fear come up. The fear doesn't mean you don't move. It means that's the green light. The fear, the resistance is the green light. The resistance is, oh my gosh, this is bigger than me. So it feels like a stretch because it's bigger than me. But your soul is big. Your soul is meant for bigness. The only part of you that's small is the thoughts and the human thoughts. But the real essence of you, you're the breath of God walking around in human form. God blew the breath of life into you and you became a living soul. You are the breath of God. And when you know that, when you own that, you remember your identity and you realize that this fear is nothing. It's a speck. It's a speck it's like this. It's like a speck, but it's blocking you. But the moment you move it, you can see clearly. All right, so I can't wait to have you inside the House of Wealth. If you have questions, you can always message me. I'm not the kind of person that will, if you have questions about the House of Wealth, you can message me and I can help you to figure out if it's the right next step for you. If you have, but I want you to just trust yourself if you already feel that nudge. But I'm not the kind of person that if you DM me, I'm going to be like, oh, you need to be in it. No, I will honestly tell you if I don't think it's right for you, I can tell you. But most of you here listening, you already know and feel the pull. It's just about you trusting and being brave. The people who win are the ones who are brave. This quantum shit here is really the game of bravery. It's the game of unrealistic, but this is not realistic. So you get unrealistic results because you lead yourself in ways that's just not, it's like, can I really, should I really, what if it, yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. All right. And for those of you who it's your personal life, if you have inner healing things, it's more personal, then still DM me because I can either maybe give you a VIP upgrade where we do some private coaching together or private coaching and then I can give you this as a bonus. All right. So, but either way, this is going to change your life. House of Wealth. All right. Get yourself in there. I can't wait to have you. And thank you for watching. Oh, before you go, actually, do you have any questions on what I've shared today about this process here? Just popping my laptop up so I can see. Greetings, gorgeous. Hi, beautiful. Any questions? Okay. All right, I don't think we have any. You can also type no questions if there are no questions as well. I think I'm going to pop off. I think that's good. All right, my loves, I think that's it. I'm just gonna give one more second for you guys to share if this is something that you know that you need. All right, if you have any questions. All right, so I think that's it. I'm gonna hop off. Thank you so much. For those of you who come and join me in the House of Wealth, I cannot wait to serve you. I cannot wait to coach you. I cannot wait to walk with you. I cannot wait to watch you make so much money, fix your money stuff, and just really create your decadent life, okay? I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Let me end this here. Bye.